Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. My anus is bleeding!
He can't sit down.
They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Beta bear.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you don't do it.
Oops.
We're under attack. It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
Bullshit.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bullshit.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Repeat the line.
Disappointed!
How you like that, boy?
No.
Give me a break.
Stop it.
Fired.
Fired!
Bitch, move it along.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
I'm not worth your McDonald's money.
Oh yeah.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It's been a minute, hasn't it? So everybody, welcome back, and good to be back. So we've got a fun show today. I didn't get a chance to update the titles, so you know we might be operating under some older titles. I tried to update them as I was doing the intro, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, we got fun stuff. We have Donald Trump and the nuclear bombshell, so to speak. That's fun. We have Republicans running from their own positions, which is great. Dr. Oz has some weird ideas for healthcare. And then, of course, we have police tied to extremist groups. Not surprising. So, anyway, would it be funny if the titles were super old? They are super old. So, this is from the last live show we did over a week ago. So, anyway, am I in a new room today? I am. So, I did some moving over the last week. But anyway, don't worry. We'll go and, try to liven up the place a little bit as we go along. But nonetheless, we've got stories to do. So why don't we dive in and have a little fun? Nuclear, very, very nuclear, tremendously nuclear. All right, so it is official. Former President Donald Trump had possession of nuclear secrets. Now, what's interesting is that they actually were not, as far as we know, American nuclear secrets. But according to a report from the Washington Post, Trump was in possession of nuclear secrets of an unidentified country when FBI agents had searched his home last month, looking for, of course, these very documents, as well as a raft of other classified information. So now this is something that Trump had denied early in August. For example, Trump had written this on his failing
Truth essential
platform. He said this: nuclear weapons issue is a hoax, just like Russia was a hoax. Two impeachments were a hoax. The Mueller investigation was a hoax, and much more. Same sleazy people were involved. Yes, all a hoax. Wait, what happened? What happened? I thought the nuclear was a hoax. You schmuck, you moron, you idiot, you compulsive liar. Now, these documents are incredibly sensitive. Again, this is intelligence, right? I was just going to say,
It's not human intelligence!
But in this case, it was human intelligence from our intelligence agencies about the nuclear capabilities of another country that we happen to have information on. Okay? So that's very confidential, very sensitive information. And by the way, when I talk about sensitive, I don't mean, sensitive as in Jordan Peterson crying all the time. Because, look, if you want to talk about sensitive, very, very sensitive person. Okay? But no, this is information that is supposed to be kept secret, and so secret that many inside the intelligence agencies themselves, even members of the Biden administration, do not have the clearance to access it. And yet, there was just chilling, at a Florida golf resort, maybe in a storeroom with a single padlock, because, that'll deter any would-be spy. Or maybe it was sitting in an office, next to the stack of Time magazines. Who's to say exactly where they found it? Well, I guess except for the FBI. To be fair. Just chilling, hanging out. Anybody can come and look at it, So, great. Now, the same day, this idiot of idiots, the king of dumb, decided to contradict himself. He said this: President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents, much of them classified. Oh my God. How many of them pertained to nuclear? Word is lots. You notice sources on that? Trust me, bro. I got many sources. Tremendous sources, the best sources.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Now, again, flat out lie. The guy just lies. He lies as easily as he can breathe. I swear to God, I could not understand how someone can live their life building up a consistent web of lies and keeping it all straight. Well, obviously he can't keep it all straight because he routinely contradicts himself on every single thing that he says. Even things that don't matter, he still lies about. No, here's what here's what happened to Obama's 30 million records. They were given to the National Archives in 2017 after he left office. That's it. Wow. To this day, they remain in NARA's sole custody in accordance with federal law in a facility in Chicago, run by the agency itself. None of those records were classified. The ones that are in NARA in Chicago. Now, there were classified documents, but Obama didn't take them home with him. No, they were moved to a separate NARA facility where they are still in the Washington, D.C. area, sitting in this secure facility. Look, I don't understand why I continue to try to debunk the nonsense coming from Trump and members of the right wing. Look, right wingers, you're watching. I know you're watching. I can see your comments right now. You don't care, do you? No, of course not. No one who's watching this that is a conservative Trump supporter cares at all about reality, facts. You just don't. You're hate watching right now. You're furiously typing about Hunter Biden and his laptop. I can guarantee you at this time. Hunter Biden, Chuck Grassley's letter, the whistleblowers, the FBI, it's so bad. Donald Trump literally had nuclear documents of another country. Documents that were so top secret that they needed to be stored in a secure government facility and supervised by a designated government official to keep tabs on them. And he stored them in a resort where literally random people have gotten into. And I've detailed that before. That includes a Chinese woman carrying loads of SD cards and other electronic equipment. She could have been a spy, but you're worried about Hunter Biden. Priorities. I mean, seriously, this is where we're at. Now, one last thing here. And let's the special master that has just been not appointed, because they're still looking for a special master, but a court had ruled, a judge, specifically U.S. District Court Judge Aline M. Cannon, who happens to be a Trump appointee in Florida and a member of the Federalist Society. She recently ruled that Trump would get his special master, who will then sift through the nearly 13,000 documents and items that the FBI had taken looking for privileged information, anything that might be protected by attorney-client privilege. Now, here's the thing about that. Justice Department lawyers had already said that they had a filter team to go through and separate out those documents that might be protected by attorney-client privilege. But again, that's not really what it's all about. It's never been about that. No. The whole point of requesting the special master is to stall for time. That's it. He needs time. He wants time. That's it. Until, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to tie up this investigation, this case in court for years. That's the whole goal here, okay? Now, the judge has ruled that investigators are not able to use the seized materials in their investigation until the special master concludes his or her examination, however long that takes. And that's assuming the Justice Department does not file an appeal, which could take even longer. So what this is they're gumming up the works, thanks to a Trump lackey that was appointed to the court. She also reasoned, by the way, that a special master could mitigate potential harm to Trump by way of improper disclosure of sensitive information to the public. Basically what we know now, what we had found out, the nuclear documents, suggesting that the knowledge of or details of the case were harmful to the former president and could be lessened by inserting a special master into the document review process. So what we're worried about apparently is reputational harm to the former president. So let me ask you again, question for the chuds, the Trump supporters. You're watching, hate watching right now. Is this at all hurting his reputation with you? I would expect not. Is it hurting his reputation with people like myself? No. And if there is a person out there who has not already made up their mind on Donald Trump, is this going to be the one thing that gets those people to say, you know what? I have made a decision here. Well, if that's the case, and I think it's very unlikely, but if that is the case, well, then I guess the one person to blame here would be Donald Trump for hurting his own reputation by taking documents that didn't belong to him. So if we're worried about the reputational harm, I don't agree.
Give me a break.
He had the nuclear documents at his resort that he wasn't supposed to have, and other classified material. He lied about having them, had his lawyers sign off on it. No, the only person that harmed Trump is Trump. This is another case of play stupid games. Now, the only question, of course, is when he will receive his stupid prizes. And thanks to Judge Cannon here, it might be a while yet. Okay. If Trump didn't have a bad reputation, he'd have no reputation at all. A fair point. Okay. The MAGA hats held alternative facts. Judge Loose Cannon. Oh, I like that. I should use that for a lower third sometime. That's good. That's real good. All right. Moving on to the next story. Again, let's have some fun. It appears that Republicans are furiously running away from themselves, specifically their own statements that they had made on abortion. Now, the latest Republican candidate to separate himself from his own views is Scott Jensen, a Republican candidate for governor in Minnesota. Now, back in March, during an interview with Minnesota Public Radio, he said that, quote, he would try to ban abortion without exceptions for rape and incest unless the mother's life is in danger. Ah, well, that how merciful of you that you would actually, do a little bit of an attempt to save the life of the mother. Now, again, I've gotten into how this is actually way more complicated when you have these situations where doctors are afraid to perform these procedures because they could be construed as performing an abortion, so they don't know when to act. They allow women to, basically bleed out in some cases because they're too afraid to be charged with an unlawful abortion. So, again, doesn't do a whole lot, but nonetheless, how merciful of you to allow just this one exception. Yes. Well, except now, here comes the hilarious backpedal for Mr. Scott Jensen in this ad he put out.
Abortion is divisive, and Tim Walz is weaponizing the issue. In Minnesota, it's a protected constitutional right, and no governor can change that. And I'm not running to do that. I'm running because we need safe streets, excellent schools, parental rights, and more money in the family budget.
Wait, oops, did I say that I was going to ban abortion? Without exceptions for rape or incest? Did I say that? Did I say that? No, of course not. I've never do such a thing. Abortion is such a divisive topic. It's so divisive, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it at all. Never do such a thing. Now, do you know what happened? He didn't just have a, sudden epiphany. No, what happened was he looked at his poll numbers and he said, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. According to polls, Jensen, who had previously trailed incumbent Governor Tim Walz by about 5 points in spring, something that, you could make up, is now down by 18 in the latest poll from KSTP Survey USA. But he's not alone in not only the backpedals, but also the terrible polling. Republican candidates all over the country have been scrubbing their websites and past public statements of any mentions of being anti-abortion. Specifically, any mentions of banning abortion or putting forward personhood bills. For example, Blake Masters, Republican candidate for Senate in Arizona, was caught erasing references to being 100% pro-life. Oh, interesting. So here's Blake Masters. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Gotta get rid of all that stuff. I never believed it in the first place. Oh, get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's bad for my polling. There's more. Oh, it gets better. GOP challenger Tom Barrett, who's facing off against Democratic Representative Elise Slotkin in a hotly contested Michigan congressional race, has deleted their entire section on abortion from his website. That section included his belief that abortion should be banned at all stages of pregnancy. Ooh, oh, did I say that? Oh God. Oh no, scrub. Oh, get rid of it. Never existed in the first place. No, there's more. New Mexico Republican Mark Ronchetti, who is running against Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, decided to tone down his rhetoric, saying, "Oh, well, I'm personally pro-life, but I believe that we can come together on a policy that reflects our shared values." Hey, do you know we already had something like that in this country? You know what that was? It was Roe. Roe put limits on when you could have an abortion, but it also protected the rights of pregnant people to end that pregnancy as well up to a certain point in time. It looks like Roe was the compromise position, and the same Republicans that cheered when Roe was overturned at least this guy, Mark Ronchetti, is saying, oh, we should come together for a compromise position. Really? No. Look, they ran on destroying it, knowing how unpopular that position was, and now that they got their way, suddenly, there's a little bit of regret here. Ooh, turns out I got exactly what I was asking for. Oh no! Oh shit! Look, here's the thing. Their regrets are that they outed their movement for what it actually is. This is not about being pro-life. This is always about being pro-control. Controlling women's bodies. And now, let's not also forget that the Republican Party is only really latched onto the proverbial teat of this fringe anti-choice movement because it was pretty much the only way to get voters excited to vote for Republicans. I mean, no average person believes that we should be giving all of our money to the rich and corporations. That's basically the whole purpose of the Republican Party. Help corporations, help wealthy donors. That's really it. So that was the whole point of the Republican Party, but you couldn't exactly sell that to middle-class voters. So they had to go and say, we're going to protect the babies. That's what we're going to do. We're going to protect the babies. We're going to do that by banning abortion. That's what we're going to do. Yes, we're going to protect the babies. That's it. Now, look, most Republican voters don't agree with complete and total bans on abortion. But remember, according to studies, conservative mind is the most receptive to two things. And that is disgust and fear. Disgust being the first thing, fear being the second. And so Republican politicians would talk about abortion in incredibly graphic detail, and even make up some of those details and make up positions that Democrats have never espoused. This is why you hear about the abortions after birth. In fact, Jensen earlier this year accused Walz of supporting that position. He said, I think Governor Walz is extreme if he thinks it's okay to do an abortion in the 39th week. Wait. Whoa. Hold on. That's not a thing. That doesn't actually exist. By definition, you cannot have an abortion after the baby is born. Now, if you're talking about late-term abortions, that is usually almost 100% of the time a result of an emergency health issue. There are, look, nobody carries a baby for what has been described to me as a miserable, for a lot of women, not all, 9 months to then say, oops, oh, no, don't want it. Abort. No, they don't do that. That's not a thing. That's not happening. And by the way, under Roe, that was never legal in the first place. It's just a complete and utter lie. That said, let's get back to Walz here. At a news conference, the governor denied that he said that would be okay. He said, quote, I've done 1,000 of these as a member of Congress and as a governor. He said about news conferences and interviews, not one time have I ever said that. But here's the thing, they don't care. The right wing makes things up. Their position, again, they have to make things up in order to try to promote their position. And they also, again, project things onto the other side that they've never said, that they don't believe in. And they do it endlessly, ceaselessly. Now, the thing is their actual position, the things that they have said on camera, have not been going so well for them. Because, again, it's backfiring on them. Turns out Republican voters don't want the government forcing people to carry pregnancies. That's why we saw Kansas reject a vote to strip an amendment from their constitution protecting the right to an abortion, and why Democrats have suddenly won several elections they were expected to lose because they ran heavily on this issue. Now, I'm not surprised because it turns out American voters chose freedom. And that's why a lot of these Republican politicians who were never genuine in the first place. And I think, look, for all the Republicans that are watching this, your politicians lie to you constantly. You might be personally pro-life. Guess what? They're not. No, they're trying to get votes. And look, you could say the same thing for Democratic politicians. Let's be fair. Let's call out the Democratic Party. After Roe was overturned, you had establishment Democrats like Nancy Pelosi supporting people like Henry Cuellar who are not pro-choice against progressives like Jessica Cisneros who were pro-choice. And then you had a lot of establishment Democrats that are like, oh, I don't want to really touch this abortion issue. Oh, no. Now it turns out, oh, look, this position, the Republican position is not popular with the American people, with the majority. Now suddenly Democrats are all in. And now Republicans themselves have backtracked. So, again, not a surprise. So, look, if I were a Democratic politician, that'll be the day. Hey, I would keep making sure that the voters do not forget the fact that these Republicans had said these things, had run as these, we're going to completely ban abortion campaigns. They ran against reproductive rights, and let's not let the voters forget it. All right. That'll be the day indeed. Pennsylvania Republican candidate Mehmet Oz does not believe that poor people have a right to health care. Now, look, that's a pretty strange statement from a celebrity doctor, supposed to be in favor of health. But what's even stranger is what he has proposed during a recent speech. Take a look.
I think you ought to think about 15-minute physicals. Your local hospitals will fund these. They're incredibly inexpensive to run. You can screen thousands of people for almost nothing, and you allow a conversation to take place in more of a festival-like setting. It's not scary. And I mentioned earlier that almost everybody who comes to our 15-minute physicals has a job, but a lot don't have insurance. Give them a way of crawling back out of the abyss of darkness, of fear over not having the health they need, and give them an opportunity, because they don't have the right to health, but they have the right to access, to a chance to get that health.
What? Okay, what? We're talking about 15-minute physicals. What is that going to accomplish exactly? Oh man, hey, whoa, yeah, that lump looks pretty bad. And, could be cancerous, and maybe we should, get a bigger look at it. Oh, would you look at that at the time? Your 15 minutes is up, man. Good luck with that whole possibly cancerous lump thing. You might want to check it out. Okay, how? I mean, again, wonderful. So they find something in your 15-minute physical, and then what? You still don't have insurance. So you're on the hook to get it treated. And again, if you don't have insurance, that treatment could be upwards of to tens of thousands of dollars that they don't have. So what's the point? Honestly, you just wasted 15 minutes saying, I don't know, you might have something bad. You're going to go to a real doctor. Right. So now, look, even more ridiculous is this idea of holding it in a festival like atmosphere. Yes, it's a festival. What does that mean? What are you gonna have? Music, live music? You gonna have chili dog stands, or send in some clowns, entertainment? What is going on here? What do they think healthcare is? Honestly, hey Bob, why don't we go get some elephant ears and one of them free physicals? and then hit the ball pit. What? That's not a healthcare plan. What is this? And look, by the way, he says that he's run things like this, like, 15-minute physicals, whatever, and that he's seen plenty of people that work and, don't have insurance. Now, does he understand why that is? Does he understand how people can work and still not have insurance? Maybe it's the fact that there's a lot of careers out there, a lot of jobs out there, that don't offer insurance to their employees. And sometimes, even if their job offers it, they might not be able to afford the premiums. And again, if you're a low-wage worker, well, you don't have employer-sponsored insurance. Now, of course, in reality, Dr. Oz knows this. Of course he does. But look, before he even started his campaign, he had actually regularly supported healthcare mandates. Yes, I said mandates for everyone, and said that all people should be in the system, and had boosted government-provided health coverage for poor Americans and minorities. He also praised healthcare in both Germany and Switzerland, which have mandatory universal healthcare facilitated by private companies. Now, so that's actually a lot different than what we have here. Okay? For one, and I'm talking the German system, right? Unlike the German system, the United States is obviously not universal. You have some 31 million Americans who do not have health insurance. You have people that are underinsured, people that can't afford, to actually use their health insurance, even though they technically have it. But in Germany, they actually have statutory insurance. That means everyone gets that insurance, provided they make under a certain amount of income. For those making above that income, they can actually have a choice to choose private insurance. Statutory health insurance members jointly carry the individual risks of the cost of medical care in the event of illness. Everyone covered by statutory insurance has an equal right to medical care and continued payment of wages when they get sick, regardless of their income and premium level. Premiums are based on their income, unlike, again, in the United States, where premiums are just pretty much arbitrary. We can charge whatever we want. We're not going to base it off your income. We're just going to base it off our bonus. I want a yacht next quarter. So we're just going to raise our premiums. So now, since Germany, they base their premiums off income, rich people generally pay more. In America, of course, you would get laughed at. And I think by both sides, at the whole idea of, I can't believe you would charge rich people more. You need to help poor people afford insurance. That's funny. That's kind of how it's kind of how a civilized system would work. Rich people having more of the resources and actually using some of those resources to help the less fortunate. Yeah. But look, that's a vastly better system than what we have here. Even though insurance companies still exist in Germany and still offer their members full, partial, or even add-on coverage to that statutory insurance. I personally would like a single-payer system, get rid of the health insurance companies, because, look, in this country at least, those insurance companies are predatory for profit, right? But look, if Congress offered us the German model, you don't think I'd take it? Of course I would. Oh, hell, I'd take it over a garbage system any day. Because what we have now in America, we have a system where if you don't have the money, you die. Or you go into massive amounts of debt and lose everything. Now, unfortunately, that's what Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, and honestly, the majority of both parties, that's what they continue to support by not going towards real, actual reform of our healthcare system. And I say that because what do we have now? We have a health insurance system that is purely market-based, that was a Heritage Foundation plan, partially implemented in Massachusetts, or I should say they implemented it in Massachusetts under Mitt Romney, And then President Obama had scaled it up and made a few changes to fit that scale. And so you can't really call that a universal healthcare plan or any kind of socialized healthcare. No, this is a giveaway to private health insurance companies. So yeah, if the German model was offered here, I'd take it in a second. And we would have actually better health outcomes. Unfortunately, you have too many entrenched interests here, whether it be the hospital associations or the health insurance lobbyists, etc., and the pharmaceutical companies that are not at all interested in changing our healthcare system to something that is actually humane. So, okay. I think over 95% of Germans use public insurance. The private insurance is really just for the very rich. I had some German viewers in the audience, so, they could definitely correct me if I got anything wrong, that is. And I don't believe I did. Let's see. All right, one more story here, and it's a bit longer. So why don't we do it? Let's go to some serious issues here with policing. Isn't Europe hurting due to the high cost of energy? Correct. In fact, I read something that was pretty disturbing earlier, how people are basically not able to use some of their heating to turn on their heat because of the energy shortage. Even the expensive private one is regulated, of course, says our resident German. So yes, much better system than we have here. But even so, Medicare for all. There's a new report out by the Anti-Defamation League that has identified hundreds of members of the right-wing extremist group, Oath Keepers, that are serving as current law enforcement officers. Now, this information comes from leaked membership lists that were obtained by the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism, which includes, as well as law enforcement, elected officials, and even members of the military. That's current members of the military. The Anti-Defamation League Center, this is according to the Associated Press here, on extremism had poured over more than 38,000 names on leaked Oath Keepers membership lists and had identified more than 370 people it believes currently work in law enforcement agencies, including as police chiefs and sheriffs, and more than 100 people who are currently members of the military. It also identified more than 80 people who are running for or served in public office as of early August and has been compiled into a database published by the Transparency Collective, Distributed Denial of Secrets. Now, the Oath Keepers, of course, is a group that was founded in 2009 by Stuart Rhodes. By the way, is facing some rather serious charges related to January 6th, seditious conspiracy. Specifically, that organization is a loosely organized conspiracy theory-fueled group that recruits current and former military, police, and first responders. They promote the belief that the federal government is out to take citizens' civil liberties away and paints its followers as defenders against tyranny, which is interesting because I've never seen anyone from the Oath Keepers talk about how, in some respects, they're right. The federal government has taken some civil liberties away. For example, habeas corpus. You had other issues where, the Obama administration, and then, of course, following that, the Trump administration had used the Espionage Act against whistleblowers and journalists. Julian Assange It's a good example. Reality Winner, another good example. Edward Snowden, on and on. You can go on the list. Had the Oath Keepers ever spoke out, in favor of these journalists who are, again, First Amendment, right? Constitution? No, of course not. Of course not. At least I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, that said, look, the Oath Keepers are an extremist group. And they rose up about the time that a black man became president of the United States. So following Obama's inauguration, membership in many different extremist right-wing groups had increased. Not only that, but the number of extremist groups also increased because I think mainly it's because racists couldn't wrap their brains around the fact that people elected Obama. And I don't think it's because, he's a little left-wing. No. Obama's healthcare plan is a Heritage Foundation plan put in place by Mitt Romney, but scaled up for the country. So, in fact, a lot of his positions are actually incredibly moderate to conservative. No, in reality, what fueled this, I think we know, it's racism. Pure and simple. And look, you also have an issue with the right wing now believing in white replacement, which has become a huge talking point. In fact, if you're not familiar, white replacement theory is the bonkers idea that Jews led by George Soros are intentionally shipping in immigrants to replace white people. I always ask, replace them how? I mean, are they taking somebody from Guatemala, putting them in the country, and then taking someone out? That would be replacement, right? Are they doing that? No. That's not what's happening. I'm not getting replaced by somebody named Juan next week. Okay, that's not happening. Bring somebody from Guatemala over here and put them on a pathway to citizenship, and they can get jobs, they can work, they can pay taxes, they can become a citizen, they can have a family, they can buy a home, they can do all these things. Generally, I think that's a good thing. But right-wingers say, nope, can't do that. Now, the other thing is, they're taking our jobs. Well, if they're legal immigrants and they're legally able to work here and they're willing to work harder than you, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't get your job. Sorry. But not sorry. Now, undocumented immigrants, that's another issue. And I think that is a nuanced issue. Because here we have a system where corporations exploit undocumented immigrants for cheap labor. And then, of course, you have Republican politicians that don't want to fix that issue so they can fearmonger about it and get votes. Again, remember, Republican brains, right-wing brains, are conditioned for two things: disgust and fear. So that's why you hear Tucker Carlson constantly talk about how immigrants are filthy and disgusting. And then the fears of not only immigrants coming in to take your job, your house, but black people coming in to, rape your wife or whatever, your daughter, and the thugs, and they're coming for you, Antifa, blah, blah, blah. Fear, disgust. The two things that run the Republican brain. Now, as far as the Oath Keepers, they also rely on fear and conspiracy theories. Now, the fear, of course, that the government's coming to take your stuff. To take your house, to, strip you of your rights, to take your rights away. Ironically, it seems to be the rights that are being taken away are usually from Republicans that do it, not in all cases, but for example, abortion rights, reproductive rights, right? Now, the reason for that, of course, is for power, generally. They figured out that you really can't sell the idea of giving all your money to the rich to the poor and the middle class. Generally, most poor and middle class people would be against all the money being funneled to the rich, going from you, a direct transfer of wealth from you through your taxes to subsidies for giant corporations. And so instead, they make things up. They talk about, these culture war issues, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's mainly racism fear, hatred, etc. That explains a lot why Donald Trump was elected. Honestly, you can also add that Hillary Clinton ran a pretty tone deaf campaign, ineffective campaign, so to speak. And look, Trump got elected, and this is why Oath Keepers wanted to keep him in power. Because what did Trump do? I mean, along with, of course, giving the rich a massive tax cut, he fought those culture wars. He spread that fear, that hatred. He demonstrated that he hated who they hated and went after them viciously. He took the gloves off the military, which led to more civilian deaths in the Middle East, more civilian deaths in Afghanistan, more civilian deaths everywhere that we had a drone program. And look, the Obama-era drone program was terrible enough as it is. And of course, so was the Bush-era drone program. But under Trump, the drone program got even more deadly, bombed even more innocent people, created even more terrorism, ironically. But great for defense contractors. Oh, they absolutely love that. Look, not only that, but Donald Trump massively supported ICE. ICE agents tried to crack down on protests against police brutality, even the peaceful ones. So that's why, of course, Oath Keepers loved him. And I think it's kind of ironic. I mean, Oath Keepers were there in 2015 in Ferguson, but they weren't out there supporting the Ferguson protesters that were protesting against police and police brutality specifically. No, they were on the side of police. They were on the side of government, but not big government. No, state government. We like state government. We hate big government. That's why we're going to go out there, put on our military fatigues, and pretend we're in a civil war. Now, the report also notes that even for those who claim to have left the organization when it began to employ more aggressive tactics back in 2014, it is important to remember that the Oath Keepers have espoused extremism since their founding. And this fact was not enough to deter individuals from signing up. Now, specifically, these individuals who were like, "Oh no, Oath Keepers, what are you talking about? I don't really have anything to do with them." Now, I'm gonna show you their excuses here, because the Associated Press reached out to some of them. In fact, some of these officials who said that they were briefly members years ago and were just no longer affiliated with the group. Others, of course, denied being dues-paying members at all. One of them, Sean Mobley, sheriff of Otero County, Colorado, said this: "Their views are far too extreme for me." Mobley told the Associated Press in an email that he distanced himself from the Oath Keepers years ago over concerns about its involvement in the standoff against the federal government at the Bundy Ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada, among other things. Okay. South Dakota State Representative Phil Johnson, who won a June Republican primary in his bid for re-election, told the Associated Press that he had paid for a one-year membership back in 2014, but never received any of the Oath Keepers literature. Oh, I never got the booklet. They forgot to send it. Or attended any meetings, or renewed his membership. Jensen said he felt compelled to join because he believed in the oath that we took to support the U.S. Constitution and to defend it against enemies, foreign and domestic. He wouldn't say whether he now disavows the Oath Keepers, saying he doesn't have enough information about the group today. Really? Phil Jensen, do you live under a rock? Do you not read anything? Do you not see the news? Now, he said this, quote, back in 2014, they appeared to be a pretty solid conservative group. I can't speak to them now. 2014 was the same year they were shooting at federal agents with the Bundys. Really? And since then, by the way, they have made national headlines. As I mentioned, they were already at Ferguson. They also had threatened the Oregon State Capitol building and had offered to be a security detail to anti-gay Kentucky clerk Kim Davis, who refused to do her job and yet would also refuse to leave her job. Hey, if you're not going to do your job in the government, signing marriage licenses for gay people because it's legal, well, then you should not be in the job. You should leave. No. She refused to leave. And of course, the Oath Keepers who say, oh, we don't like discrimination in any form. We don't believe in that. Decided they would still offer to be personal security for Kim Davis. Really? Oh, yeah. But look, all of those things, and the point is, that was national news. That was everywhere. And yet, you never heard of them? You didn't have enough information, sir? Again, I think that's total bullshit. Okay, you want to claim that you've been hiding under a rock for the last few years. Okay, not buying it at all. Oh, but there's more. The Anti-Defamation League also said it found the names of at least 10 people who now work as police chiefs and 11 sheriffs. All of the police chiefs and sheriffs who responded to the Associated Press said that they no longer have any ties to the group. Mike Hollinshead, sheriff of Idaho's Elmore County, said this: I don't even know what they're posting. I never get any updates. I guess I forgot to subscribe to the newsletter. Oops, I didn't hit the radio button. Little check mark. What are you going to do? He also says, I'm not paying any dues for membership fees or anything. Now there's more. Hollinshead, a Republican, said he was campaigning for sheriff several years ago when voters asked him he was familiar with the Oath Keepers. He said he wanted to learn more about the group and recalls paying for access to content on the Oath Keepers website, but that was the extent of his involvement. Right. Sure. Benjamin Boak, police chief of Oskaloosa, Iowa, recalled getting emails from the group years ago and said that, oh, you know what? It was a friend. The friend must have signed me up. I don't remember signing up myself. You know, but I've never been a member. And I don't know anything about the group. Never heard of them. Who are they? Oath what? Who? Huh? you know, my best friend Bob, you know, he's always signing me up for weirdo malicious stuff. I mean, I can't help it. He just does that. Oh, Bob, what a card. Really? Total bullshit. Eric Williams, police chief in Idalou, Texas, also said in an email that he hasn't been a member or had any interaction with the Oath Keepers in over 10 years. Again, that would make it 2012. He called the storming of the Capitol, quote, terrible in every way. I pray this country finds its way back to civility and peace and discourse with one another. Look, there's a good reason why I believe that a majority of these people are being, shall we say, less than honest. I think they do agree with the Oath Keepers. This is my personal opinion. It's conjecture. I think they do agree with them. But I also think that January 6th, yes, I agree. It was too far for a lot of them. Maybe they liked it personally in their minds, but then realized, oh, crap. I'm a law enforcement officer, and they were beating police officers. Oh, crap. Oh, no, that's not good. I can't openly be associated with that. Now, I'm going to give you a quote here. This is from Rachel Carroll Rivas, interim director, deputy director of research with the Southern Poverty Law Center's Intelligence Project. She talked to the Associated Press and said that many associated with the group were often those who wanted to be considered respectable in their communities. Now, respectable went right out the window after January 6th. Now, it should have been out the window beforehand, but of course, apparently we have different opinions on what is respectable or not for a police officer. but okay. She said this: the image of being associated with January 6th was too much for many of those folks. But, you know, the dangerous conspiracy theories, those are fine. The anti-government, you know, violence and rhetoric, totally fine. But the insurrection that happened to be based off of those, not fine. Ah, right. Gotcha. But look, the overall point here that really is the most disturbing part of this entire thing is that here we have hundreds of police officers, military members, and politicians that are in these membership roles that have been named. Again, there's only 10 that they spoke to, okay, that would return their messages. What about the other, you know, several hundred that they have, including the politicians, right, that have run or currently serve in office, that are members of this group, of this, this anti-government conspiracy, movement, militia, basically. That is deeply, deeply disturbing to me, and it should be disturbing to everyone else too, who's watching. Whether or not you're a conservative or liberal, progressive, centrist, it doesn't matter. The fact that you have people in government that are serving in government as your representatives that actively despise government and don't want to make things better, don't want to do anything better. Well, other than, of course, break everything. I don't know. That seems to be a problem. I think that, call me crazy, but I think that if you hate the idea of government, maybe you shouldn't serve in it. All right. So, wow. Okay. So let's do some super chats here before you head out, because that's all the stories that I had prepared for the day. All right. So, Peril 77. You want some Alex Jones, do you not?
We're under attack. It's the devil, okay? It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
All right. So, hopefully that tides you over today. Thank you for the super chat. Madidano, thank you for the very kind $5. Much love to my wonderful family here. I'm not going to say that word because I'm going to mess it up. You've all been missed. Words are hard. Very difficult. Let's go to Twitch here. In the house, like LL Cool J, thank you for resubbing for month tier 1. Appreciate that. Let's see. Toolman1051, thank you for resubbing with Prime for 13 months. Hopefully I was able to wind down and enjoy my staycation. I actually ended up doing a lot of work. Just not this kind of work, but other kind of work. Including fixing a leaky toilet and installing shelves and doors. So did the perils of home ownership. Let's see. Member comment says, my brother-in-law and stepdad are both oath keepers. I'm sorry, L, that's horrible. Terrible. Let's see. Let's go to... Let me see if I can find the memberships here. Let's see. Hold. I can never see who gives memberships because it goes past the screen far too fast. Because of course it does. Let's see. A lot of love, though. A lot of love. Appreciate that. I know there were some gifted subs here, and I appreciate that, and I just can't seem to find it. Because, of course, can never find it when I want to. Maybe this. Nope. Nope. All right, sorry about that. Memberships were given by Elwell. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships on YouTube. You can do that. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. It's either L or, yes, L gifted a bunch. Thank you, Red Hobbit, for keeping track of all that stuff. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you for giving the gift of Waldorf Nation. Appreciate that. Didn't Led Zeppelin do a whole lot of songs? Hey, you're the wrong person to ask about music. That's for sure. Wrong person to ask. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share the stream. Check out our clips. We did some clips yesterday. If you haven't checked those out as well. Fun times. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you all later. Have a great night.
Beta! Beta bear!
There's insanity in the control room.
Shark NATO, is that for sure? You idiot!
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Bitch, move it along.